Hello everybody, welcome back to some Shogun 2 Apex here. We've got another battle here today. It's going to be me and my friend defending against a horde of Ashigaru from two of our opponents here. So starting off, we've got my units. I've got the Long Yari Ashigaru, my general, a Katana hero, and Daikyu Samurai. I went with a pretty elite core of units, and then I had a little bit of cash left over, so I was like, why not some Bocav? Maybe I'll send them out the walls and skirmish, but I quickly realized that wasn't going to happen because the enemy's got bow cav. I think they've got more cav here somewhere. So I realized that wasn't going to happen. I was just going to keep him inside, use it as an extra archer force. My friend Fishy here, he's got a ton of Yari Ashigaru. So we knew going into this was a pretty small map and he was going to have a ton of units. So we decided, hey, why not get off the walls? We'll defend in front. We'll not let them up the walls or try to attack the gate. And plus we just wanted the extra space to maneuver inside, and with 15 extra units of Yari here, we would not have been able to do that. So our opponents have kind of surrounded us almost on all sides. We got three sides here, really. Tons of Yari Ashigaru, Bow Ashigaru, Lone Swords, just massive Bow Samurai, and some Katana Samurai as well. So all that's going to be coming for us, and we start to readjust, start pulling in closer. The big risk for our units out here is just their bows are going to reach us before most of our bows can reach them. My Daikyu, I pull off the wall so they can kind of float around and mix. See, our Yari are getting charged in the side here by their Yari Cav, but that's fine. We got plenty of bows here. They'll deal big damage. But I pull my Daikyu off the wall so I can kind of flex them around, move them over here if I need to shoot, move them wherever. And I tell my friend, hey, put your Bow Ashigaru on this wall, you know, your extra unit here. And he just never moves it. Oh, like Christ, okay. But it's fine, it's fine. We drive their Yari off. It's not a big deal. He starts pulling some of the infantry in because at this point we realize their bows are just going to kill the Yari before we can do anything. And we've got my Daikyu. I can kind of protect some of them, but I can't protect three sides at once. I can only do it to one. As you see, this is why Daikyu are so good. They are completely out of range, and he doesn't realize this. So I just start picking away at him, dealing some good damage. But for some reason, my Daikyu are they're being a little schizo, I guess. They're not wanting to like fully fire. I get like 5 guys actually fire instead of the whole unit. Speed this up a bit. We're just really kind of maneuvering. I'm moving my Daikyu all over, but we're not doing too much. Yeah, his Yari not in Yari wall. That's a big problem, as you can see. These ones, these two units are. That guy is. He's not. You want to make sure they're in Yari wall if they're in defenses, especially if they're in front of the wall or in a choke point. They're just gonna die so fast if you don't do that. But the one good thing about this is they charge their melee in to quickly kill this unit. It's just giving us free damage. I've got my bow cav shooting him in the back. General's starting to get work in. As you can see, my Daikyu are... They're doing a little bit better about shooting now, but it's still pretty rough. Yeah, see? That holds so much better than this, which is already routing and has lost half its numbers in 20 seconds of combat. That's why you gotta put it in Yari wall. So my ally here went with kind of a pretty good mix. He's got some guns as well, which if you didn't know, guns do some pretty heavy morale damage. So we're hoping to break a lot of their units before they ever actually get to the wall. We'll speed this up here as well. This is basically just the opponents are just pouring themselves in, trying to wipe our units out. And they start climbing the walls a little bit. But their main plan, from what I was figuring out, was I think they were going to break our gates with fire and then flood in through the gates and not have to worry about climbing the walls. But, oh, just tabbed out of the game. Pardon that. They do start climbing here. So I move my Yari Ashigaru in the way. And they're the long pikes. They're extra good. This is the only unit in the game that I'd say is better and more cost effective than the regular Yari. Gotta love them. Move my Daikyu back just so they can get a little bit of cover. But they're doing that thing again where they just... That guy just... Nothing shot him. Okay. They're doing that thing again where they just aren't shooting. They're just refusing to fire. It's really annoying. But at this point, this is around the time I realize he's got Portuguese terços. And they're going to mess us up. They're pretty alright matchlock unit. They're very tanky. They can do their own in melee too. So I sent my general's bodyguard, and I just like, okay, well, I've got a ranged bodyguard because I like to pick off high value units. I'll just start shooting at your tersos. Force them to get closer and run away where they can't be used. If they get closer, they're in range of everything, and they're going to get absolutely destroyed. So at this point, we've pretty much lost the outside. We've got one Yari Ashigaru unit at 80 men left, 40% strength. And it's just not looking too good on the outside of the wall. They're streaming up on two sides. They're approaching on two more. I'm starting to get really worried. So what we do is just kind of pull off the walls and we start manning the gate because he burns the gate down. So we assume he's going to do a big rush because the other opponent's the one who keeps coming up the walls over here. So we get some Yari Yashigaru, we're going to station it in front of the gate, but we're going to get as many shots off on as we can, because here's the thing, when you're just sitting there burning the gate, you're not doing anything, you're not focusing on firing at the defenders on the wall, it's free damage for you to just fire, and that is another thing you need to be worried about. If they destroy this gate, all of your units next to it are going to get thrown up in the sky and die. I mean, look at that, 65 of 160, a massive amount of that Yari, the Matchlock Ashigaru just explode and die instantly. But yeah, as you can see over here, look at all of these kills my young Yari Ashigaru got. And they've only lost 30 men, and a decent chunk of that is over here on the side where they're being flanked, so their Yari wall's not even doing anything. But I don't want to readjust these, because we've got Matchlock Ashigaru just pouring fire into their flanks, so I'm willing to take that casualty. My Daikyu are still going hard. They're trying to get as much damage on these clumps and blobs as possible. As you can see, their Portuguese tersos, they did pull back, but the general, just way too much range, and I'm still just trying to snipe and get a little bit more damage on these tersos, because if they get into melee or up close to use their guns, they're going to deal crazy damage. But at this point, I don't realize that they've actually got some bow Ashigaru and start sniping my general. So I do take a good bit of damage here, which is not good. You got to pay attention to that. The Bocav, I've just had him sit here the whole time. Just occasionally send shots over. My issue with Bocav is they're a good skirming unit in flat open maps. In terms of sieges, when you're trying to fire over walls down onto units below, they just don't like doing it that much. And I didn't want to dismount and put them on the wall, because I didn't want to risk them getting directly fired at. So, you know, they don't do as much as I thought, but it is what it is. As you see, the meat grinder has started. I've got my Katana hero finally engaging with their units as they're coming up this wall. And it's not doing much because for some reason the pathfinding is just got these guys, they're just lined up single file to walk into a unit of Katana hero. It's just not going well for them. But at this point, we pretty much secured the walls again. There's nothing that's really threatening us. And our opponent over here, he starts pushing up through. And this Yari Ashigaru, it holds for so long against these warrior nuns. Genuinely, it just never dies. I think that unit stays alive till the end of the fight with 2 guys left or something. It's really crazy. Oh, the mass push has started. Our opponents are starting to pour up the walls, and I bring my Daikyu back on here just so they can get that extra speed to attack. And if you didn't know, and I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure, units that are stationed on a wall get a slight bonus to their attack speed. It's really nice if you didn't know. And they weren't firing there for a minute because I'd actually taken them off of fire at will, so they weren't wasting their ammo. So I put them on the walls, and then they just sit there for 30 seconds before I realize, oh crap, I need to do something. But luckily, Daikyu are pretty tanky. I start clearing all of these archers out with my Daikyu. I bring my long Yari over here to block this because my ally tells me, hey, my Yari are not lasting very long. And they're going to need backup. So I'm like, okay, I'll bring my long Yari over here, block this gate. I'll bring my Katanas over to this side, reinforce your men. And that's going to go great. It really does. My Daikyu are getting picked off. They're about half strength now, but look at this. They're just shredding all of these bow units. And the real point of this unit was to just deny them archers. Because if they had archer superiority and wiped our ranged units, they would just be able to fire in on their base. Our generals wouldn't be safe. This is so small. They would basically be able to shoot our general wherever it was in here. And we've got chain routes starting to occur on the enemy side. But honestly, it's still in their favor. They have so many units left. They have bows on every front. They've got uncommitted reserves of Yari. plus their general's bodyguards. It's not like we've won. It really could go either way. But they're in a rough position because we've really reinforced both of our entrances. So they're going to have to make a strong push at once with everything that they've got. At this point, the enemy's just really trying to break through these gates. Yeah, as you can see, my katana are here to save them. There's still 13 of these Yari-Ashigaru that are here defending. They just will not give up. I've noticed that with defending sieges, we get a master out here as well. That swings the balance of power in our favor. Look at all of these units. That's at least 250 katana samurai and Yari-Ashigaru that just routed. That's bad for them at least. They send their Yari samurai up the wall into our matchlocks, but they shatter before they even get up. That's another thing you have to worry about, guys. If you are sending units up a wall, they have really, really fragile morale. When they get to the top, they only have a handful of guys that are actually fighting it first, so they're going to be way outnumbered and losing decisively, which is going to hurt their morale. Plus, as they're going up, they're getting shot, which is going to lower their morale. We had another big rout here. Lone Sword Ashigaru are gone. Lone Sword, another really good unit. You gotta tier them up. Because on their own, they don't have a good melee stats. I mean, they're decent. They're good against Ashigaru, but they don't have enough to go up against any form of samurai. And they have really crappy morale. At this point, they send their pretty much the remains of their army in. I'm sniping away at their cav. On this side, their Yari-Ashigaru chatter before they even get to the walls. They've still got bow samurai. And it really could go either way. If you can remember, I mean, just a couple of minutes ago, balance of power was looking like this, but in the opposite way. So it can really flip around really, really fast. But we're feeling pretty confident. They've got no cav left because my Daikyu, you know, my Daikyu's picking away at these guys. Plus, they're climbing the wall. So I'm like, okay, we'll set my bow cav out. I'll see what I can do with them. They're not a very good rank. They're going to get destroyed by a general. But I'm like, okay, let me just get some damage off on this general bodyguard. If I happen to kill the general, that'll probably rout what's left, and that'll just be the end of it. So I'm fine with just committing my guy, just trying to get as much damage in. And it just doesn't work. I kill 3 general units before they get to me. And they hit me on the charge, and my bow-cav just get absolutely destroyed. But we pull them into range that the matchlocks are fighting at. And some of our generals as well are going to start sniping in at him just to try and finish him off. On this flank, they're bringing in their bow samurai. That's the last of their forces over here. They've got some katana that have come back from routing. And I think that they just forgot about this bow Ashigaru. Please, guys, don't forget about your units. If they're just sitting idle, they're not doing anything. This guy is he's at full strength. I doubt he's been committed at all. He's got all of his ammo. He can come in and really punish our units right now if he wanted to with that. But he forgot it was there. I didn't even notice this, but my friend, he sent some matchlocks out to fight his bow samurai. Now, the bow samurai are going to shred these guys in melee, but at this point, they've lost so many men. They're wavering already, and it's just going to be rough for them. And that's pretty much it. With that, I'm going to say the battle's pretty much over. There's nothing really left. They rout. What's going on over here? Yeah, we'll just speed this up as it finishes. They finally realize they have another unit, but it doesn't really matter. Our towers are kind of shredding their samurai over here. I get what's left of my Daikyu onto this front, and I start shooting away at their avatar's bodyguard. But looks like I was actually out of ammo, or I took them off fire at will again. You know, I've got a really nasty habit about putting my Daikyu on a wall, having them with a fire at will toggled off, and then not selecting what they shoot, and they just stand there getting shot for a while. I really need to watch that, but yeah, that's the battle for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day.